in school, and it's very good to see you today. Take your time and come in and get comfortable in the chat. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking to you guys about Africa and about the wealth of Africa. You guys know I've spent the last 10 or 11 days, something like that, doing kind of an economic exploratory mission of the country of Ghana. I'm going to go to other countries also. Ghana is not the only country I'm going to visit, but Ghana right now is my favorite country. And I have also visited South Africa, Botswana, and Nigeria. And so I'm going to continue to do more analysis on this because I think all of us as African Americans probably need to learn a little bit more about about where our ancestors were from. Once again, I want to make it 100% abundantly clear that I am not in any way trying to replace what you have in America. We are not in any way talking about Africa as a way to say, oh, you need to forget about everything that you own in America, your reparations, your rights, your everything that you have, everything you work for here. We're not saying that. What we're trying to say is that you deserve it all. We're trying to say you deserve everything. We're trying to say that you have a special privileged position in the world in that you have economic rights here and you have economic rights over there. That's a pretty good position to be in. That means you are privileged, you are chosen, you are favored, you are the chosen people in so many ways. You are special, you are unique, you are powerful, and you deserve it all. So everybody in the chat, I'm going to send out a note to the family, let them know that we're live. I want you to say, I want it all. Type I want it all in the chat. I want it all. Everybody type that, and so we can be on the same page. Say, I want it all. I want what is owed to me in Africa. I want what is owed to me in America. I want it all. But in order to have it all, you got to go get it all. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button so more people will come into the chat. I'm about to actually shoot out a quick text to let everybody know that we're live. If you want to know that when we're live on the Black Financial Channel, text the word Black Wealth as one word, not two. Text the word Black Wealth, one word. Don't type it as two words, one word. Black Wealth to 31996. Text Black Wealth to 31996. So give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second here. Okay. All right. All right. So here's the deal. When people talk about Africa in America, let's just be clear. Most of us don't know what the hell we talking about. Seriously. How many of you let me ask you this. How many of you went to a school that was run by white people? I want to have a quick Negro confessional right quick. I want you to confess to me right now. Did you go to a school that was run by white people? Give me a yes or no if you went to a school that was run by white people, or maybe you were blessed enough to go to a school run by black people. Did you, let's just do a confessional for real, straight up. Let's just lay the coonery out here on the table. We know we backward. We know we've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled, run amok, led astray. How many of you went to a school run by white people? Go ahead and say it in the chat. Okay, I see Dominic says yes. BA, Cut Action says 95% of us. Julia says yes. Right. Okay, so here's your issue. Here's your fundamental issue. They've been lying to your black ass for about probably 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, however old you are, they've been lying to you the entire time. Also, they haven't just been lying to you here in America. You see, white supremacy kind of operates the same all around the world. They've been lying to the people in Africa. I've sit down and I talk to people in Africa, and they say, well, yeah, we didn't learn anything about slavery. Yeah, because people don't tend to want to tell everybody else's dirt, but they don't want to lay out their own dirt. Kind of like what Oprah's doing with these documentaries where she's laying out all the dirt with the black men, but she's scared to lay out the dirt with the white men. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's a big conversation right now. We're not scared to hit that conversation. So they've been lying to you. Now, here's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to add more lies to you. I'm not here to give you more information or more perspectives that you can't go verify on your own. I want to let you guys know and remind you that this platform is for intelligent black people. And so because you're here as intelligent black people, that means I want you to do your own research. That means I want you to think for yourself. Okay. So I'm going to tell you things. I'm going to be a little bit of a guide, a little bit of a support mechanism, but I don't want you leaning on me as if I am the guru and I know everything, because at the end of the day, I want you to feel comfortable moving forward with whatever you choose to do with your life. Okay. So because I'm going to tell you, when I went to Africa this past 2 weeks, I said, as soon as I go and as soon as I make certain announcements, I already know the Negro naysayers are waiting. The Negro naysayers, these are white supremacists in blackface. The Negro naysayers are the people who find a problem for every solution. The Negro naysayers are the ones who sit around that Negro, he up here over in Africa. Don't nobody want to go to Africa. You remember when they would use little and how ignorant y'all, a lot of us were, where people would make fun of the African kid, yo, African booty scratcher. Remember that? I mean, just hurtful stuff that people used to say. But let's just be real. Let's just be real. People used to make jokes about Africa, and that is about the most self-hating, ridiculous stuff that we could ever do, right? And so, and I want to apologize if anybody was targeted by this kind of hate and this kind of disrespect. I'm sorry. I want to apologize to you, because I will tell you this. Here's why I think you need to hip yourself on Africa. Here's why I think you need to understand Africa a little bit better than you do. Africa is the richest continent on the planet. Africa is the richest continent on the planet. It is the richest continent on the planet in terms of resources. Africa was a place where Europeans came there and they could not believe how much gold there was, how much of every resource they were looking for, from oil to cotton to whatever. Africa was full of it. Africa just had it all. Africa is just full of life. It's the cradle of civilization. And so Africa was the key to wealth. And so here's what the white guys did. This is what they did. This is what I want you guys to do. They got on code. They got on code. Now, if you look at the history of Europe, they loved killing each other. They spent about 300-400 years acting the way a lot of the people in the African American community are acting right now. They were launching bombs at each other, shooting each other, blowing each other's heads off, and doing these terrible things to each other. But then they stopped for at least a moment. They called a truce and said, hold up. All this fighting means we're all going to lose. So what we need to do is we need to unify, and we need to go ahead and peacefully chop Africa up into pieces so that everybody can get a taste, right? So they said, okay, Germany, you get that part of Africa. All right, England, you get that. France, you can go over here, right? And everybody gets paid, everybody eats, and that's what they did, right? So what I would almost say to you is that power must meet power, and power is best exercised through unity, right? So what I'm encouraging you guys to do, in fact, actually today I had one critic that was making fun of the Africa trip. Again, a person that's probably never gone to Africa, doesn't know much about Africa in terms of actually being there and speaking to the people there. And I just told her on Twitter, I put it on Twitter, I said, if you want to go to Africa with me right now, I will invite you and I will pay for your ticket. I will buy you a plane ticket to come with me back to Ghana. If you'd like to come to Africa with me, I will arrange and talk to people and say that this person can come with me. I'm not going to say the person's name because I don't want to get into all of that stuff. But I'm literally here in a way that says, let's focus on productivity and let's focus on something good so that we're not sitting around giving ourselves something bad by fighting. Okay. So please hit the thumbs up button. I'm going to give you some quick stats on Africa that I think are pretty impressive, things that you kind of want to process a little bit in terms of how you go about thinking about what you want to do in terms of building your power. You see, what Africa is for African Americans is this. Africa is for African Americans what China is for Chinatown, right? It's a power base. It is what Mexico is for the Mexican. It's what Israel is for the Jews. It's what it's what Italy is for the mafia, right? It is a power base. And if you think about a power base, a lamp that is plugged into its power base is bright and shiny and lights up the room. A lamp that is not plugged into its power base is going to be dim and dark and look powerless, right? So right now you look dim and dark and powerless. You look like you don't have any power. Well, the reason that you look like you have no power is because you've been disconnected from your power base. So what I want to encourage you to do is to not see Africa as a replacement. You see, a lot of times we see competition. We've been trained by massa to think about things in a competitive way, when actually you should be thinking about things in a cooperative way, right? Competition is something you do when you have to, but complementarity is something that you do when you actually want to win. Okay. So rather than thinking about it as either or, I encourage you to think about it as both and. There is absolutely nothing that you can do in America right now that you won't be able to do by extending into the diaspora and checking out Africa and looking at the opportunities there. Okay. So some people are already saying, sign me up. Well, yes, Lorraine, I will let you know when we put something together. Right now, we've got so much information, so many connections, all the way up to the president's office. This morning, I met with the attorney for the president of Ghana, and I've met with a bunch of other leading officials just to try to figure out how we can move forward. I'm traveling with a bunch of ballers. Mike Roberts, the billionaire, invited me, but there are a bunch of millionaires that were in the group. They were looking at massive office buildings. They wanted to buy massive amounts of land, things like that. But really, I told them specifically, I said, I have people back in the States who want to be involved, who want to do things, but it has to be done right. It has to be made crystal clear, and it must be, and they agreed 100% that it must have mutual benefit, meaning mutual benefit means that this is not a charity mission. Ghana is not a charity case. They don't want to be a charity case. Africans don't want, well, the Africans I met anyway. I mean, people are different, right? You know, you have diversity of perspective, but they don't really want a bunch of charity. They're not a charity case. They're not disabled. They're not senior citizens. Africa has the youngest population on earth. I don't know. Does anybody know? Give me a yes or no if you knew this, actually. The youth of your population has a lot to do with your productivity. The youth of your population has a lot to do with how much work can be done to sustain the entire society. America is losing because our population is aging, right? So our sun is starting to set. Asian countries are losing because their populations are aging. Their sun is starting to set. Their trajectory is going down. Okay, you get what I'm saying? You follow me? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you follow what I'm saying. Yes or no? Do you follow what I'm saying? European countries are on a downward trajectory because their population is aging. So their sun is setting also. That's why they like to have immigrants coming into places like Germany, because they need young workers to do the work. Does anybody know which continent, and you could probably guess which one, has the youngest average population on Earth? Africa. And human capital is one of the most valuable resources that there is. A lot of people talk about all the other minerals in Africa, everything from the gold to the diamonds and all that stuff. But one of the greatest resources of Africa is the people. It's the people. Okay. And so ultimately, that's one huge advantage Africa has, which says that, these dark times for Africa aren't going to last forever. You've got the African Union doing really good work to bring everybody together and connecting all the countries into economic pacts. They actually have the, I believe it's called the African Economic Continental Trade Agreement or something like that, where they can actually trade amongst each other without tariffs, which is a big deal. Donald Trump is fighting with the Chinese right now over tariffs. Tariffs are basically taxes that you charge people for trading goods in your country. And so they're working through all that, right? So here are a few more quick facts about Africa that I want to kind of mention to you guys so you can kind of process this. Think it through. I'm not even telling you what to do. I just want you to kind of process this a little bit, okay? And again, once again, if you run into the Negro naysayers, forgive them, for they know not what they do. For all you got to do, if they start talking crazy and saying Africa, ain't nobody want to go to Africa, don't nobody want to be in Africa. I likes it here in Alabama. I likes Donald Trump. I like America. America been good to me, boy. Them Africans, they hate us, right? If anybody starts talking like that, just ask them a basic question. Say, well, how many times have you been to Africa? And then you're going to hear something called silence. They're not going to say anything back, because unfortunately, we've been trained to be both ignorant and arrogant. Not only do we not know what the hell's going on, but a lot of times we're very confident in what we don't even know, right? So just, it's okay. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. The Negro naysayers are never going to go away. It's going to happen, and it's fine. We're going to keep on building. So a few things about Africa. Number one, the GDP of Africa. I'm looking up some African economic stats that I have in front of me from jobnetafrica.com. Nigeria and South Africa make up about half of Africa's GDP. The estimates of Africa's GDP range from about 2.2 trillion to 3 trillion. I believe it's about 3 trillion. Now, here's what's fascinating. The amount of spending power. Has anybody heard about this false misleading term called black spending power, where they talk about how much money black people love to spend every year, how much money we love to give away to white people every year, how much money we love to give away to Asian businesses in our communities every year, how much money we give away to Jewish businesses and Arab businesses and businesses from people from south of the border. Has anybody ever heard about how that's 1.3 trillion? That literally this continent with 1.2 billion people has a total gross domestic product of 3 trillion. Your amount of spending, the amount of money that you give away pretty much is 1.3 trillion, and you're only 40 million people. Y'all lit, man. Y'all are rich. Y'all are rich. My son was here, right? My son was here with me. My son David, he came with me over to Ghana, and he loves it, by the way. Everybody just, I mean, it's a great place. I'm just telling you. But anyway, he's there, and he's seen all these beautiful African women. He's young. He's 26. He's got his swag, right? And the girls all checking him out. And he said, why are these girls all chasing me around and bothering me, blah, blah, blah. And they said, because you're rich. You are a rich American. He said, I'm not rich. What are you talking about? I don't have a lot of money. They said, no, over here, you're rich. And I said, yeah, David, you're rich. I said, let's look at the statistics. Did you know that the average Ghanaian's annual income is $2,222 a year? $2,222 a year. Ghanaian GDP per capita is $1,649 a year. The GDP of all of Ghana is literally, the GDP of the entire country of Ghana is about 1/14 of what Black people give away every year to white people. Did you know this? That the African American spending, y'all talk about how poor you are. You talk about how poor we ain't got no money, master done took it. We just broke, we poor. We ain't got no capital. We can't compete in capitalism because we don't got no capital, right? As much as y'all act like y'all broke, the amount of money that Black people spend every year is like 14 or 15 times the entire gross domestic product of the entire country of Ghana, right? So you're not short on money. You're just short on confidence. Like, seriously, like you're the shortest basketball player on the court in the NBA, and you really think you're a midget. Like if I'm playing in the NBA and I'm the shortest player on the court, I might still be 6'2", but I might think I'm a midget because I don't realize that most of the world isn't 6'2", right? So that's the problem you have as Black people. That's just me being keeping it 100 with you guys. Okay, it doesn't mean you don't deserve reparations, but it means you can build with what you've got. I'm in Ghana with the GDP of a 50 to 60 billion. Maybe it's gone up a little bit more since the stat was taken. And they've got office buildings, they've got CEOs and major corporations and entire governmental infrastructure, and massive amounts of land, of course, and all kinds of things going on, and they're operating with 1/14, 1/15 of what you guys spend and give to white people every year. That's kind of crazy, y'all. That's a little bit off the chain. Okay, so let me lay out a couple other things. Africa has the highest proportion of entrepreneurs in the world. Polls suggest that 80% of Africans view entrepreneurship as a good career opportunity. I saw lots of young brothers on the streets that were amazing entrepreneurs, extraordinary salesmen who were, really doing all the things that we teach in business school about following up with the customer and customer service and all that. These brothers had it down. They were digitally connected. They could accept digital payments. They were like, we could ship you the product. I'm like, so they got a whole infrastructure set up. They just need to connect. Right. So I said, okay, well, we're going to do business with you. How about you become our supplier and we will put money in your pocket to the point where the best that we can do right now. I don't want to make too many promises and I don't know how much we can accomplish totally. But I know one thing I can do is I can at least put you in a position where you ain't got to go out in the hot sun and chase people down to go sell your amazing products, because the stuff you have is good. You can custom make it. We can work something out. Let's figure that out. OK, so ultimately, Africa has a lot of great entrepreneurs. The other thing, one challenge that Africa has that they mention in studies is that a lot of the businesses that are built don't have as much productivity as some of the businesses in America. And I'll tell you, I have to confess that was an issue, right? When I was here, you go to a restaurant, sometimes it would take, quite a while for the food to come out, or I'd see some inefficiencies in terms of time management that kind of bothered me a little bit, not to the point where we're superior, but I said, it could be a cross-cultural exchange. And so in the Black Business School, one way we're going to contribute is we're going to do two types of classes. We're going to do one program on how to do business in Africa. Right, we'll probably just start with Ghana, because Ghana is great. Ghana is kind of like Africa on training wheels, right? For people that are trying to learn about the entire continent, because there's a lot to learn, and I'm learning too. So I'm not an expert on Africa. Don't even think that I am. And then we're going to have another class basically called How to Do Business Like an American. We're going to call it something else. But literally, I think that there are people in Ghana and Africa, parts of Africa, that can benefit from learning how we roll. Because African Americans, remember, you are a special people. You can teach the world the same way the world can teach you. When I come to Africa, I'm not coming to Africa just as a person who knows nothing, who's looking to learn. I'm coming as a person who also has some things I can teach. I'm coming as a person that's looking for something where there's a partnership. You see, the key to economic power is to be gang affiliated. You see, gangster shit is what runs the world in economics. Economics is warfare. Warfare is won by gangs and armies and troops that come together in unions, right? That's how they won World War II, is they formed an alliance. They allied troops. So what I'm doing is I'm over here looking for more soldiers. I'm looking for economic soldiers that I can work with, that I can train, that I can partner with, that I can do business with, that I can unify with, so that we can stand up against that battle, that demon of white supremacy. Okay, so that, because white supremacy ain't gonna go away. White folks ain't gonna stop being white. Chinese aren't gonna stop being competitive. We have to compete, and in order to compete, we must unify. So last couple points I'll make here. I have a couple little stats, and I got to bounce, guys, because I have a meeting in a second. But I wanted to hit the thumbs up button. I have a couple more stats I want to share with you. Please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And also, if you want to get started on your economic journey, please go to theblackbusinessschool.com, THE. That's theblackbusinessschool.com. You can get started for free. You can talk to our specialists about how they can help you and your family. Doesn't matter where in the world you live. We've got something for you. And also tomorrow night we're having our seminar on how to get a high credit score, being taught by Cashley Johnson, who created the Trafigo app. The Trafigo app is a credit app, and so he partnered with TransUnion and Experian, et cetera, and he created the Trafigo app. And he's coming in to basically talk about everything you want to know about credit scores and how they work, how the formulas work. Okay, so if you're interested in that seminar, just go to drboyceseminars.com. That's drboyceseminars.com. So let me just give you guys, remember, now put it in perspective. Remember, African Americans have total spending power of 1.3 trillion. Let me list the GDP of a few African countries. I'm gonna grab some at random, and I kind of want you guys to compare 1.3 trillion to the numbers I'm about to recite to you now. Okay, so here's a list of African countries in terms of GDP, nominal GDP. Let me start with Libya. Libya's GDP, nominal GDP, is $44.9 billion. Remember, so that means we're about, 50, well, not 50, sorry, 20, about 23, 24 times greater in GDP than Libya. Ghana's gone up. I said, I gave a number earlier about 47 to 50 billion. Actually, the most recent number is 68 billion. So they're, I guess, maybe one twelfth or something. No, not even 1/12, maybe 1/15 of what you guys spend every year on Popeye's chicken and shit like that. Morocco, a wealthier country, has a GDP of 121 billion. Gross domestic product, 121 billion. Let's see, Nigeria, it looks like that's the richest country in Africa, has a gross domestic product of $44.9 billion. So the African American community has more spending power, or 3 times more spending power than the wealthiest or just oil rich country in Africa called Nigeria. So your gross domestic, the amount of money you spend every year, your black spending power, which there's no power in spending, by the way, is 3 times greater than the GDP of Nigeria. And, I've been to Nigeria. Nigeria's got businesses everywhere. Nigeria's got banks. Nigeria's got schools. Nigeria has its own systems in every imaginable category. So when I hear, the children, the children of the African American community, meaning us, and when I hear us, the descendants of American slavery, with 1.3 trillion in spending power, just say little things like, we don't have enough money to start our own football league. In my mind, I kind of laugh. As an economic professor, as a finance PhD, I giggle because I'm just, cracking up over the fact that we really think that we're poor. If you think that you're poor, I challenge you to do this. Get a passport, and I want you to go to a third world country, and I want you to go and see where the poor people live. If you really think you're poor, even in a place like Ghana, you'll come over here and you'll thank God for whatever you got. Even if you're living in the projects, you'll be amazed. Some of the brothers we talk to on the street, a lot of them make $200 a month. And it's not like all the cost of living is super low. It's not, right? So you're blessed in America. You got a lot going on. The problem is that you're comparing yourselves to white people so you think you're poor. So it's like you're a really tall kid. You're 6'2", 6'3", but your friend, you mean the white man, if he is your friend, he's 7 foot tall. Economically speaking, he's got more wealth than almost anybody on earth on a per capita basis. So you're comparing what you have to what he has, and you're thinking, I have nothing, when you really have a lot. You're thinking you're the 6'3" kid who thinks he's short. You ain't short. You ain't broke. You're not poor. You sustain lots of businesses, but the problem is that the businesses are not yours. So until you learn how to become producers, and we produce enough entrepreneurs and train ourselves up and learn how to manage what we've got, then we're going to always end up losing, because you are a nation. You are a nation, and what the Africans can give you is they can give you back your dignity. I believe Ghana and places, other countries across the diaspora, can give you back the importance of family, right? They can give you back the confidence to build your own institutions. They can give you back a lot of what was stripped from you during slavery, because you're not a slave. You are a king. You are a queen. You are winners. So go out here and win. Okay, everybody. So I'm about to go. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button before you go. Make sure you also subscribe to the Black Financial Channel. We do financial news and commentary on a daily basis from a Black perspective. Mike Roberts Jr., the son of billionaire Mike Roberts, he's actually going to be a regular contributor on the Black Financial Channel. He's a lawyer, brilliant guy, and he wanted to contribute. So I say, great, come on in. So we really talk financial stuff every day, and because we're doing it, man, we're getting it done. And I want to work with the people that are part of that talented 10th or talented 20th, if you will. I don't need everybody. I just want the people that want to build and want to turn their families into empires. We want Wakanda. We want Zamunda. We want to win. We don't want no average stuff because we're not Negroes anymore. We are Black men and we are Black women. We are kings and queens, and that's what we're meant to be. Okay. So I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. Hit the thumbs up button before you go. And so if you want to subscribe to the Black Financial Channel, go to theblackfinancialchannel.com. THE, that's theblackfinancialchannel.com. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Peace.